Welcome to Center of Light. Good to see you. Om Sri Saram Guru Devadatta. Yaha Naha Vaha. Hello everyone, good to see you. Welcome to Center of Light Justice. Center of Light Justice. Prison Planet. Center of Light Justice. We're going to get justice, but also remember it's just us. Center of Light Justice, just us. Tonight's presentation is something I've done, touched little samples here and there in my presentations, but also in presentations full in and of themselves. Tonight I'm going to go thick. We're going to get into the water, the dirty, stanky, Yankee, cranky water. What water is that? Let's get down to some beeswax first. Homecoming, crossing the bridge to the soul. The link is in the top of this forum. Whatever forum you are in, let me refresh these comments so I can see you and not have to look at all the different platforms. Hello, Adana. Hello, KK. I don't know who's here, but the fields are about to populate, and I'll be able to know. I'll be able to know. Homecoming, Crossing the Bridge to the Soul, my new bestseller. If you read it, fantastic. Leave me a review. If you have not, go purchase it for the simple purpose that you can leave me a review. Thank you. Also, my Broham sandwich, Mr. Robert Harrison, out of the beautiful love in his heart of generosity, gave to me, and in turn, I want to give, barter, make a pact with you. Hello, Miss Forrest, beautiful lady. He sent me 8 of these, and there are other, let's call them artifacts, fossils from an ancient older time. He's good that way. But he gave me 8 of these. They're very, very heavy. There's serious quality there. I sent 2 off yesterday. I have 6 left of the Mayan calendar pendant. This is, I'm assuming, some sort of brass. So it's got some weight to it. It's really, really cool. Well, let's do some pendulum. Notice it's going to spin in a direction. I'm not doing this. Should everyone purchase one of these pins from Center of Light? Does it have healing energy? Are you connected to all that is? Is all that is we deem as God? Is it pure love? It changed. All right? I can make it fit, but I'm not going to. I'm going to be honest with you. I asked, are you connected to all that is? And it's, well, sure I am, because everything is connected, regardless of the level of consciousness, which is what we're going to be talking about tonight. And it answered all the questions correctly. And I'm doing this on purpose. Notice how hard I had to move my hand to make this move. And it was doing this. When I said, are you that of pure love? And it changed direction immediately. And it meant no. So I'm curious. Be curious. Buy one of these beautiful, powerful pendants full of Robert's heart. $30, not buy, $30 donation to Center of Light. You can say, Keith, I'm interested. You can send me an email at keithanthonyblanchard@gmail.com. You can leave a message in here, Keith, I'm interested. I'll find you. Send me a Facebook inbox. $30 donation. It helps me stay alive, Center of Light. I do this every day, all day long. I prepared, really. This is not look at me, but look at me. Please. I prepared this all day. Why? Because I care about you. I care about things like you do, And then so I'm asking you, let's both of us connect and share that humanity bliss. So Robert's sending me, he's got some more things. They should be arriving. Robert, they have not arrived as of yet. Hello, Yvette. How'd you like the way that rhymed? You can bet she's in the house. So we have more things coming. Thank you, Robert. So as the pendulum was swinging, it changed. So tonight, when I asked it, it was all yes. I am connected to the all. Yes, yes, I am here. Or are you filled with love, or whatever it was I asked about love. And it changed on the dime. Play the video back. You will see my hand in. I don't have to convince you. Just watch it. And it said, no, I am not the embodiment of love. So what this could be on a spiritual, psychic level, I know this sounds like spiritual woo-woo, but it isn't. That something is trying to intervene, knowing that I'm going to impart serious, solid, based in fact. What is fact? That sounds a little too scientific. Based in truth. That is transpiring. That will wedge itself in the way of something beautiful, powerful, that we deserve as our birthright. It always wants to intervene, interject, impinge, and infringe on your free will, your consciousness. Hello, tonight's presentation, Prison Planet. Granted, I may come across crass as an ass, using language a spiritual teacher should not use. I'm not interested in that bullshit. I'm not. Because it gets me going, it gets me fired up, it pisses me off. But I am never going to claim the victim position here. Never. I don't have to like you yakking at me. That's okay. But when you start slugging me in my face, I have a divine birthright to stand up and rebel against your abuse. That's it. This is the platform I'm launching this presentation from my heart. And I use my intellect to think about things. So much so I've been doing this work for so many years. Blood, sweat, and years. Tears. Tonight is center of light justice. We're going to have justice. Love is already won. It's done. But it's not that easy. Because we're moving down the linear timeline to the place where it's already done. And love has already won. And love is only one. As to why the consciousness said, I am connected to the one and the all, but I'm not definitely down with your platform and or format, Mr. Keith Blanchett Yanava, that I am the embodiment of love. Hello, Elaine. Hello, Kelly Bird. Christine. So tonight is center of light justice. Just us. It's just us. Well, isn't that everybody? Well, it's everybody that wants to get into the conscious, unifying human program. That's the us. Everything else is not going to make it. If you are an emotional bully, a word bully, you're not going to make it. Well, Keith, who are you to tell me who? I know the law of physics. When you become conscious, you no longer break your pinky toe on the furniture that your spouse just bought for you and the lights off. What I'm offering to you is an idea, a great possibility. I have done so many presentations of the love of my heart. But this one, I want to use a little bit of ass, a little bit of punch, a little bit of kind of. Because sometimes, including myself, we need that kick in the pants. So tonight is about the dance of, are we seriously, without a doubt, in and out and all about being invaded by an alien race? Notice I didn't say extraterrestrial, because we are terrestrial, and if they are extraterrestrial, then they're terrestrial, but they're a little bit extra because we look up, because we always look up towards God. We always look up to higher possibility, and higher possibility is, wow, these beings are intelligent. That's why they fly all around the galaxy with all kind of science and technology. So they're extraterrestrial. I separate on purpose the two of aliens and extraterrestrial. Aliens implying that not necessarily you from another planet and that you're flying around in these hardware craft, flying through frickin' wormholes and showing up and freaking people out. That's not what I'm talking about. I am truly talking, that is included. I am talking about levels of consciousness, excuse me, that are alien to the vibration and the divine will's intention for humanity. That would be called alien. The earth was made, grown, exploded, evolved, came into being, however word that fits your need, it did. And something began to invade this space. It may look like beings, but it doesn't have to, because the consciousness would be considered higher than the beings themselves, which they're actually not higher. In fact, if it's a low consciousness, it's lower, but somehow it's able to manipulate and puppet the body, the mouth. Hello, 90%, 95, whatever percent of the political arena. Are we being invaded? I'll leave that to you for now. Hello, Pedro Skazi. Prison planet. But Keith, we live in America. We are free. I love it. I love your idea. And really, beyond my own understanding, I hope that is where you truly freaking are, and you launch yourself every morning that you wake up into this open-eyed reality. But are we truly free? Maybe what we call freedom simply is a freckle, one grain of sand on every beach throughout the entire omniverses. We don't know shit. So tonight, we're gonna get lit. Some of it's gonna be butt tender. Some of it you may disagree with. That's completely okay. But make no mistake, I'm going to reveal something to you. And in this revelation, I'm going to gather lots of information that I've gleaned for many years. It took me hours. Loving, feet hurting, because I always sit on my feet. Hours. I wouldn't change it for anything. So I'm going to lay out some things. There's going to be a lot of my eyes moving this way because I'm reading. It's not that I'm reading because I need notes. There are certain things I want to be said, and it took me a beautiful time to do it. And then I'm going to show you a cameo appearance by a spiritual teacher who's going to lay down some powerful, my God, powerful wisdom about God's great reset. And I'm also going to be doing some reading from my life's work. I didn't just write a book. You're doing the same. Everything that you do with your life that you love, you are writing a book. Be it a cook, a gardener, this or that. Share this everywhere. It's going to get crazy, y'all. I don't know what's coming out of my mouth. I don't. But I trust it's going to be filtered through my loving heart. I'm going to take a short pause. I need to get some water, do a couple things. It's a little warm in here. Change my AC. Stick around. Is an alien race or aliens invading this planet? How do you invade a planet? You show up in the skies and start blasting. The planet will unite and blast back. They don't want that. They live thousands of years old. They're not in a hurry. They create a divisiveness between all of us. Racism, politics, transgender. That's a hell of a car fender to be hit. It's time to get lit. I'm going to be right back. I have a big presentation. I'm going to be here for a while. You can always stop and come back to the time marker. Hang out. Stay in the energy. Pedro says, we've been here for a long time. And we are going to be here forever. That is a fact. Love has won. What is happening? Before I go to this song break to change my air and get some water and all those things. One, I'm asking you to share this, if you choose. I'm going to play you an upcoming movement on my soon-to-be album called Samadhi, Into the Fire. It's called the Sacred Dance of Kali and Shiva. I suggest headphones. Turn it up. Lots of stereo stuff happening. But this song represents the sacred dance of Kali and Shiva. Creation, destruction. This is what's happening right now. It's always been happening, but it's always been like this. But now it's come to the event horizon. This is the main event. And it's on the horizon for everyone. We're actually in this place where it's now doing this. It's at its focal center 0 point. Get you some wine, take a sip of beer, or smoke a joint. I'll see you shortly. I'm going to be right back. This is called The Sacred Dance of Kali and Shiva. Welcome back to Center of Light. If you want one of these awesome Mayan calendar pendants, $30 contribution to Center of Light. It serves multiple purposes. And I will bless this in my hands. What does that mean? It means you're special to me. And I'm going to specialize this of my love for you. How you like that? Please do the same for me. In your prayers at night, Lord knows I need them. We're not going to take any time. But let's get right down. I got a lot. I was here for a long time today because I wanted to. It's not your average, normal, spiritual presentation subject, not only by me, by anyone. I mean, you get all the media stuff and people. I want to present this on a multiple level platform. Just information, my personal thoughts about it included. Another spiritual teacher, someone who's illumined, and some reading from the Divine Principle, which I think is a gift not only to myself, but to everyone. And I'm blessed just to be in that experience, however that experience may have come about for me. So let's get down. I got a lot. Here we go. Today is the 21st day of the 21st year of the 21st century. That's 2 and 1, 2 and 1, 2 and 1. So that's 3, 3, 3. 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9. 9 is the divine number. Everything starts over. Many spiritual people, and I get it, I love playing in that arena, they're really heavily focused on, I'm a star seed. I get it. I'm a star seed. John Doe's, we're all star seeds. I get it. I'm a star seed. Of course. And I like that you express and share where you think you're from, and you might be absolutely on point, all that. But we're not done with planet Earth yet. We're not done with planet Earth yet. Well, Keith, I've heard you talk about star seeds. I do that. My point is, yeah, it's fun to play in that arena, but let's just make sure, including myself, that we stay grounded on the Earth and solve the Earth's problems before we go back to the stars. I'm going to rename some things. I'm going to use a couple of gestures. And then I trust after I use said gesture, I don't have to keep gesturing. My intent is not to devaluate, trivialize, desecrate anyone's sacred position of what they choose in their life. Because though many people may go against certain people's said choices, it doesn't mean that it's not the highest one for them. I get all that. Now I'm going to speak about this. We're going to call it the Big V. Big old V. I'm asking you to take this in. Don't give it a thought. Just grab it, put it in a file, and chew on it. Peace. The Big V. The Big V was not created to combat the Big C, the Ronage. The Big V was not created to combat the Big C, the Ronage. The Big C was created to usher in the Big V. Think about that. I'm not trying to sway you. I will try to sway you later. I'm bringing something to the fore. Knowing what you know and the which you have about you, without the media's influence, what would your kid, innocent quality, as your God nature when you came onto this planet as a child, does this feel true? Does it feel right? Does it feel loving, nurturing, balanced? Do we think with the immune system that we have in ourselves, which could be intact, which actually heightens and expands by confidence? Because what is confidence? I have strengthened myself. I believe in myself. What is the other? The lack of an immune system. I have no confidence. I'm just here. And it opens up the door for certain things to invade into our consciousness. The big V was not created to combat the big C. The big C was created to usher in the big V. Remember, hello, Ark, Finner, Reza, Kaiser. Hello, brother. Remember, tonight is Center of Light Justice. It's just us. Prison Planet. Remember, just over a year ago, we were all locked down or locked in like a prison. Prison Planet. Freedom. I saw a YouTube video today with Neil deGrasse Tyson and Ben Shapiro. And I'm not going to say who is who. And this is definitely not a judgment. I'm calling a spade a spade. This is a hand. How do I know this is a hand? Because it has 5 fingers and it extends from my arm. I have an elbow and I have a wrist bone. This is a hand. You give someone like Ben Shapiro a live hot microphone and it becomes dangerous. Hell, I hope he hears this presentation and brings me on his show. I would love it. I have no intention to go toe to toe, but like Neil deGrasse Tyson, he basically bitch slapped him and said, "Sit down, young man. You don't know squat." He's complaining about transgenderism. I don't lean into it either way. I don't care. It has no, leave people alone. And so Ben Shapiro is with his little squirrely mouth running his game. And then Neil deGrasse Tyson says, "It's a free country. Why do you give a fuck? Are you against freedom?" And he got silent really, really quick. This is a conscious poison. I'm not judging him. I'm just saying that many people on the great stage of earth with hot microphones have been seduced. Everyone has a beautiful soul, including said people on the earth. This is not, I'm not calling Ben anything. I'm just saying many people on the earth that have been seduced, not because they're just stupid, it's a part of culturalism. They become infected so much so with the consciousness, not meaning Ben, but politicians, religious leaders, certain spiritual teachers, this, that, and the other, everyday people. So there is a very intelligent influence that begins to impose itself into consciousness. So I decided to look up the definition today, as I have many times before, of the word freedom. Freedom from slavery, captivity, or any other form of arbitrary control. Departure from rules or procedures. Freedom. Many people who are being squashed, not only by their voice, but their expression. This comes from being under the influence of control. You don't have to like it. There's no way you can get yourself out of this painted corner except to walk into the paint. There's nothing your mom can do. There's nothing your friends can do. There's nothing anyone can do until you be honest with yourself. It's a free country. Why do you give a fuck? Are you against freedom? End of story. So whatever you choose lets you off the hook or binds you into the prison planet. Granted, we're going to have a few more times to come to the acceptance of this reality and other people by simply leaving them the fuck alone and loving them for being different from ourselves and our own. You see, this is not a time to be lazy just by simply posting scriptural quotes, right? I saw one today. It's beautiful. I love that someone is moving into the spiritual energy. What I'm suggesting is there's lots of work to be done. God didn't remove the Red Sea, he parted it. Sometimes God doesn't remove your problems. He makes a way through them. I get it in all its fineness and glory. There is no more time. This is the story that is unfolding. And in hindsight, we're going to be looked back as the heroes or the villains. Not that that's important that I was a hero, I was a villain. My point is, what is the legacy we are choosing to leave behind that creates a karmic push into the divine? That has my attention. I hope it has yours as well. Is our world being invaded? I'm asking a question. Alien race invasion. This planet was created for humans to create God's kingdom and dwell in it. Everyone's home without exception. Inclusiveness. Well, that is what we are doing now. And even through these turbulent waters, if the consciousness of love, peace, and unity are not being supported, let me start that over. Alien race invasion. This planet was created for humans to create God's kingdom and dwell in it. Everyone's home. Well, that is what we are doing now, even though we are in turbulent waters. If the consciousness of love, peace, and unity are not being supported by anyone or a group, that can only mean there is a consciousness of alien influence. You can't get out of that wisdom. It's a fact. From history to religion, education, science, sexual preference, and so on, we have been deceived. From history to religion, to education, to science, and so on, we have all been deceived. Understand, here we go. This is really, really cool. Understand that lying and deception are two completely different things. Understand that lying and deception are two different things. Lying is passive, and deception is casting a magic spell to weave you even further into the lies. Do you understand? Here's lying. Check out my hammer. That's a lie, because it's an ice cream cone. And someone says, well, that's not a hammer, that's an ice cream cone. And then it becomes active versus passive. Come over here and let me show you I have an ice cream cone for you. That's deception. Here is what deception looks like. The big C, Ronage. New variants of the Ronage, because the first one didn't have the effect the aliens wanted. The big V passports, Vax passports, God, politics, the Fauci ouchie, robots, AI, artificial intelligence, fake news, censorship, lockdown, the pure in heart and DNA will be left. It will only be the pure in heart and DNA that will be left. Now, what I mean by the DNA will be left is, even though you got the V, doesn't mean your DNA is going to be tainted, because no one knows your beautiful karmic past. No one knows anyone's grace. Everyone makes the choice at the pace of their consciousness. I'm not going to go where I was going to go. Everyone makes the choice at the pace they are comfortable with. And it could actually save their life and or their soul. Your soul can never be sold. The devil, No one can ever get your soul. Your soul is God, therefore it's off territory for anything that is nonsense and unconsciousness. Prepare yourself emotionally for what is coming. Doesn't mean that what I'm saying, that what is coming is this big bang of a, oh my God. But the oh my God is going to affect you emotionally, no matter how big it is out here, can create a tsunami in you. Something you never thought could ever possibly happen, as the perfect formula, ingredients, and or recipe to say, hi, do you see me? You forgot about me from your childhood, from eons of time? I'm here on a dime to say I love you, and it's time to resolve this matter. But I will tell you, by forces, we are sovereign beings. We do take responsibility. But the outside influence that has grabbed us by the boo-boo, we are being pitted against each other. Why? Because it weakens the power of the collective. United we stand, divided we fall. It's not Muslims versus Jews, Palestine versus Israel, USA versus terrorism, capitalism versus socialism, oil versus alternative energy, Tibet versus China, organic versus GMOs. It is not religion versus science, democracy versus fascism, women versus men, poor versus rich, master versus slave, sickness versus health, war versus peace, etc. It's just psychopaths versus humanity. And still, we do not know which side we are on. We're living at the peak we are living at the peak of the time of the false world. That's why being real gets shunned. Why speaking truth gets you scorned and banned. Society is at the tipping point of the height of illusion. It takes serious courage to be real right now. Censorship is the child of fear, the father of ignorance, and the weapons of tyrants. Hello, everyone. I need some water. I have lots of reading going down tonight. Hello, Pri. Lincoln, my brother. I watch your post often, bro. I seriously admire you on your freaking RV journey across the universe. You and your son and your creatures. I'm going to keep moving forth. Are we being influenced by an alien race? It does not mean there are aliens here who came in hardware craft. It does mean that. We're speaking about levels of energy that are not of the human potential. This planet was created with the intention of infinite potential, and in the great fall, if you will, there was a consciousness that inserted itself, not as someone attacking the consciousness of the descension, but in the fall. Think about this. You in an airplane, ready to free fall into infinity. But when you jump out, you get scared. Many people jump out of an airplane their first time and go, I am so ready for this. Likewise, this can be likened to the same idea. When the wholeness, whole thing happened, and the descension towards a beautiful possibility, some people in free fall got scared, and it created a wedge right in between the consciousness from everyone who was having a phenomenal time, and we all landed on the earth like a superhero on one knee, and some people broke their leg, toe, and or knee. Sort of idea. So this may have happened eons and billions and gazillions of whatever ago. This is affecting this plateau right here and right now. Moving forth. Our president, I'm not against him. I'm definitely in for him. I don't care who it is. Our president, without judgment, he said, they're going to Hello? Anybody home? Whether the big V is true or not, the fact that someone from an institution like that would come to my house as if they care about me in the first place to offer me something, that is very suspicious to me. And they're adamant about it. They're like, this is the way to go. This is the way to go. You, me, and the we of it all have survived through that. Though we've lost people, and my blessings to that, they're coming to your door. Australia, they're coming to the door not to ask you, but to give you. You don't have a choice. They started in North Carolina. You can bet it is against law that they could do that, but they're going to skirt it. They're going to skirt the law. And then you're going to see the great giant called America rise up out of its abyss. Just before 2020, I did a presentation that said the world we know of as it is over. Prepare for what is coming. Now they're knocking at our doors. They want us to be cyborgs. This is your biggest challenge, our biggest challenge, to stand in our power. If we don't take this opportune time to claim our birthright in time, we will only cry for letting it slip away. There's so much to this presentation. It's all going to piece together. People are waking up because it is starting to get real. You are going to have to be emotionally strong, peaceful, and powerful. Powerful, one word, but powerful, two words, or you simply won't make it. I don't know how you are, how old you are, how old you are. You may live to be a certain point because it's your time, because of age, and we don't have the technology. The point is, the graduated scale of your level of experience will be sameness versus expansion, or shut downness, and not allow you into the mansion of a greater possibility. The AIs, artificial intelligence, or the alien idiots, are pushing on us all very hard, and they will continue to press harder and harder. Why? Because, here's the good news, because they are losing power, and they know it. So they are desperate and will do whatever it takes to keep you locked down, locked in, or locked up on the prison planet. Granted, this is also the God's domain of your garden, heaven on earth. But we have to pardon ourselves from our own transgressions and stand up in unity to ward off the parasitic pestilence that is now trying to rape your mother, Earth. We all have to wake up, open our minds, hearts, and ourselves up to each other. If you are such a one, stop fucking with people, or you, my friend, will not make it. If you feel that things are getting too tough for you, don't worry. Don't surrender your sovereignty nor your power. Often, the blessing happens right before the crash. Maybe one could consider not hanging around with the crowd. This is the time for you to find your tribe and to vibe with them. Everyone is a beautiful soul, everyone. But many upon the great stage of earth, their consciousness has been influenced and poisoned, and that beautiful soul light cannot emerge through the mental darkness. I'm going to keep moving. I just need some water. 1996, 97, 98, that's when it started. From my new bestseller, Homecoming: Crossing the Bridge to the Soul, now available on Amazon. The link is in these forums. Here we go. This was 1996. We're in 2021. Spirit says there are like-minded corporations, institutions, and powers that refuse to let go of their need and greed to possess and monopolize. They are the primary reason the Earth's health has gotten so poor. If they are allowed to continue, their ongoing abuse of the planet will hasten her death and dying. And I ask, what can we do to keep that from happening? The clearer everyone gets, the more effective you will become at removing their parasitic energy, because you will be using your own God-given power to correct the seemingly irreversible damage that they have done. Everyone must change from poverty thinking to prosperity thinking. When that happens, you will each become a channel for abundance to return, radiate outward, and help heal the planet. The prison planet. Listen to this. Once everyone looks upon God as the infinite repository of wisdom and wealth, the world's spiritual revolution, resolution, and evolution will begin, and lack will end. As long as you continue to help other people and keep striving for clarity, you will one day be able to tap into the power that will let you manifest the world that you want. Look around, Keith. Can you see how everyone must come to clarity before the chaos can dissipate? And I say, pun intended, clearly. The more that you take part in this process, here's part of the solution. The more we take part in this process, the more you will be able to influence the time-space coordinate of the ascension. Yes, as many of you as possible must work through the chaotic energy. Look around. As many of us as possible needs to work through the chaotic energy. If you continue to feed your addictions to the world, believing in religious power structures, political infrastructures, this, that, and all that is absolute, ridiculous nonsense. Belief in anything can be beautiful, but when it becomes an addiction and your salvation to expansion and infinite possibility becomes chaotic noise, poison, nonsense. Use this as a leverage to step to another level so you can at last be consciously, blissfully, emotionally with your divine Father, Mother, God. End of story. The more you take part in this process, the more you will be able to influence the time-space coordinate of humanity's ascension. Yes, as many of you as possible work through the chaotic energy. If you continue to feed your addictions to the world, you will deprive yourselves of God, and your fear and confusion will be all that remain. And I ask Spirit, why is peace so difficult for us to get to? Many of you do not know what peace looks like because there was no effort at all to familiarize yourselves with it. It cannot be said enough. It takes love, trust, and clarity to live the peace that lies within you. My child, for lifetime after lifetime, I have watched you work diligently so that you could be here on earth now, preparing for this grandest time in cosmic history. Do not take this life for granted, lucky one, because there are many souls who still await the chance to be given what you have been given, human birth. I'm going to keep moving on. And then I'm going to play you a powerful video, which is the solution to this supposed alien invasion. Doesn't mean hardware ships and embodiments of physical people, physical beings on Earth as aliens. It does include that. We're talking about a level of unconscious, misdeeded, ill intent energy. Spirit continues. I asked the question, who are the ones being influenced and likely not going to make the ascension? Spirit responds, those most likely to become candidates for manipulation on a psychic level are the ones who are filled with hopeless, angry thoughts. Those most likely to become candidates for manipulation on a psychic level are the ones who are filled with hopeless, angry, fearful thoughts. And I ask, how can one recognize those who fell under the influence, as you say? They are the ones who still promulgate the message that God is separate from you, holier than thou, and that you can never aspire to God's greatness because you are born sinners, as if it is a sin to be born human. And I say, I used to think this way. And Spirit says, how do you feel now that you have relinquished this distorted belief? So relieved, much lighter, freer, like a huge burden has been lifted from my heart, because I know what I was taught is completely untrue. Just be aware, because there is still influential ones on earth trying to pump you full of meaningless stuff, all the while keeping secrets from you. It appears to me that evil isn't something that you look upon kindly, I ask Spirit. And Spirit says, Keith, appearances can be deceiving. Many may not accept this, but I look upon evil with the same compassion as I do everything else. Remember, all I do and all that I am is love. Take a look around. Can you not see how the infrastructures of family, religion, education, geopolitics are all beginning to weaken? This was in 1997. And I say, without a doubt, but I also see a lot of people who want to build and are rebuilding their lives on the truth. And I can see it in the eyes of people who don't even know they are searching. It seems like almost everyone is looking for something to fill the hole we feel inside. And I ask, what is going on? Spirit responds, I'm answering all of your prayers. And I say, huh? Keith, you may seem to think that the rebuilding of society and everyone's search for truth are different from one another, but they are one and the same. You are all creating these changes by finally recognizing the illusion you have been living in, by recognizing your relationship to a cause greater than yourselves, and by deciding to take up that cause. It is through this new perception that you are becoming more globally aware, watching everything that takes place within the institutions at work in your modern world. Now, when mishaps happen, you are demanding answers. Will we ever know the answers? I mean, the truth about the things that have been kept from us. Hello, Jody. I just felt you come in. If you continue your quest for me, indeed you will find all of your answers, because all questions will fall by the wayside when I become your answer. The answer within, the answer without question. What I'm saying is that when everyone begins to establish the divine within themselves, you will find the solutions to all of your problems. You and me, 1997, you are on the cusp of choosing your fate. And I ask, what is it that we need to do? What is it that we need to do to ensure that we make it? Take responsibility for everything that happens to you and tolerate nothing that is not in the alignment with where you want to be. And I say, I'm sure that giving up our desire to acquire stuff wouldn't hurt. And Spirit responds, no, it would not. But surrender does not only require for you to release your want for possessions. It also means you must abandon the dogmatic, religious, cultural, and political beliefs instilled in you by those who want to control. Hello. You must back out of those systems completely if you are not being fed loving spoonsful loving spoonfuls of universal truth. Those drunk on power have not redeemed themselves and do not care. They are not interested in God's kingdom. They are completely satisfied sitting on their earthly thrones. So I'm going to take a break. That was a lot of reading. Tonight is Center of Light Justice. It's just us. Prison Planet. I am not saying this from a victim point of view. I'm saying this for heed this message, every one of you. We can see things in a certain way, but in this delivery of mine, as I choose to connect to the divine and ask for guidance, as we all can possibly apply this way of understanding, this invasion or this overlapping of consciousness and overlapping of other consciousnesses, it helps us to gain our place within ourself, on the planet, in the solar system, in the galaxy, in the cosmos, and who we are as individuals in the kingdom of God. It's all about a play of consciousness, but there is a powerful play of unconsciousness. Mind you, it is very intelligent. So there's a game being played. And how do you win the game? You don't play the game. You have to learn a new way of being about yourself, a freeing about yourself, a seeing about yourself. Hello, my brother Carlos. Do you understand? Not that you are, but there is an attempt to manipulate all of us on levels that we are unconsciously vulnerable. Aliens does not mean beings, physical beings who may have some transdimensionality about them and they fly around in hardware craft. That's called aliens. I get it. That is not what I'm referring to, though that is included. I'm talking about a consciousness that is alien from the good of all of humanity, is based upon this earth with the divine intention when we all left the Godhead eons ago, which is actually still right now. It's the soul playing itself out in every cosmic present moment. And it slipped itself into the crack. The analogy I use, 10 of us want to jump out of an airplane because we're ready to go. We just want to do it. They open the door and we're ready to go. We just want to jump, and we jump. And the other 10, they're ready to jump, and when they jump, they became afraid in the fall. And in such an idea, they created this separation. And when everyone landed, they fell through the fear filter of said separation. But through all of these reincarnations, you, me, the we, and if this sounds strange to you, this presentation, take in what we are all saying, even though I'm simply the mouthpiece. The people in these forums, these beautiful souls in these forums, they know what's happening. And they love you so much, they're not trying to be arrogant and or right. They want you to join them every day, every night in the bliss that they have found, because they have grounded themselves to the earth at last. We're leaving behind the past and we're moving into the golden age. But that's going to require everyone to get out of calling people names and rage. You don't like transgenderism? Keep your mouth shut. Take it one step further. See the beauty in people being themselves, simply. If not, you are not simply being yourself, and you are lying to yourself. Remember what I told you. A lie is passive. Here's an ice cream cone. You want it? Come over here. I'll give it to you. And it's really a hammer. That's a lie. Enticing someone to come to you so you can take your convinced, believing, bullshitting them that this is truly an ice cream cone. Believe me, this is really an ice cream cone. And then they get whacked across the head. That is called deception. There's a great deception being played. And it's our responsibility, even though it was taught, that we bought in it. I understand the consciousness of the innocent, the children who had no say-so, but now you're a full-fledged human adult. Take responsibility. or we being invaded by another race. When I say race, it doesn't have to be physical beings. They may be physical on their level of experience in a way that we don't understand. They're called demons, scripturally. However you choose. I stay away from all those labels. Bad shit, basically. Things that does not bring anyone joy. Discrimination, division. I want that which is a provision. That which has vision and gives it to all of us. Take a short pause. I'm going to play you now that we've revealed. I think I've made my point. There is something, whatever you choose to call it, that has been invading the earth for a long time. Do you, when you look around, do you see heaven on earth established? I get it. Personally, for some people it is. But as a collective world, when the world becomes heaven on earth prophecy, do we see that established? No, we don't. Why not? Well, it's because, yes, it's our own responsibility, but why not? Why hasn't our elders, why haven't we learned from the elders the sacred book, the sacred text since the beginning of forever? Maybe because it's been manipulated. Hello, Council of Nicaea in the late 300s. As one aspect or model for how beautiful, sacred, wholeness, divine, children of God consciousness can be interrupted and or manipulated. You see, in the end, which is never going to end, the beginning which has never started, the meek is after all not going to be weak at all. Step back. Get out of the bullshit. You're being lied to. Yeah, but Keith, my party. Oh, it's a party. Everyone loves a good party. We get drunk and we get high as a lab rat at parties. We wake up the next day and we got a knock on the head because we feel like shit. And we're hungover. Well, are you tired of regurgitating your emotional guts into a toilet? There is a consciousness that is trying to eat up everything that's beautiful. And it will pitch you against yourself, your family, your friends, your neighborhood, your town, your city, your state, your country, your continent, your world. Here's a solution to that. Shun your murder.
We are living in an extraordinary historic moment. That's not a surprise to anyone. And in this historic moment, because of its nature, meditation is more relevant to more people than probably at any other time in history. We could probably say it's no longer a luxury, but a necessity for many who are suffering from the loss of freedom that is being experienced throughout the world by the anxiety, the fear, the paranoia that is being provoked, the uncertainty at all levels of biological life, social life, political life, financial life, existence itself. Everything is in the balance in a time in which no future can be planned, nothing is known. We are in that moment of the indeterminacy that cannot be decided by the ego. The ego has lost its effectiveness, its usefulness as an organ of consciousness. And we require a transcendence to a higher level of intelligence, a higher level of our being that is fearless and that is clear and that is able to navigate this new world that is a dying world and see what is being born and perceive the blessings and perceive the ways to be a giver of blessings in this time of darkness for many, But what is dystopia to the ego may well be utopia for the real self. And so it is this shift of our own paradigm that meditation will bring to us if we are willing to go beyond the ego, to return to the self, to be who we really are, and to abide as that in such a way that our physical and cognitive and emotional capacities become able to serve as a channel for the flow of Shakti, of wisdom, of light, of healing love and compassion. And of that vibrational frequency that can shift a soul out of the illusion that there is a world and to see the truth that there is only consciousness. This is what the perennial philosophy has always taught, the great tradition, the esoteric level of all the religions and spiritual traditions, that there is only one self, one intelligence, one supreme actor, and that all that seems to appear is simply a dream within that consciousness, a simulation of reality, but not real. The world is God inside out. And when we are no longer inside out, when we have gone within and brought that within into the outer, when we have united the inner and the outer, when we have recognized the consciousness that can be a collapsed quantum wave that seems like a world of fixed forms and identities and limited potentialities and contractions of fear and desire and of lostness and confusion, when we can turn that inside out, when we can reveal the light and the love and the joy and the perfection of the poetry of God's heart and mind that are bringing the world to a beautiful conclusion, a beautiful consummation of all possibilities, to allow a world of suffering to die quickly so that a world of peace and love and joy and beauty, goodness and miraculousness can be reborn. But in this transition phase, if one is lodged still in the ego, that part of the consciousness identified with the physical body and identified with the mind that is trapped in language, in the flow of thoughts that are embedded in duality and in the belief that the world is real and not a simulation, not a dream in God's mind, that believes that we are in danger, that believes that we are in some kind of dire circumstances, then that mind will create paranoid vibrational frequencies that produce more negative karma, more suffering, more loss of freedom, more loss of the sattvic capacity to penetrate through the apparent to the real and to enable a fearless encounter with the real to bring us home to the God self from which we have traveled lifetime after lifetime in order to arrive at this end point, this omega point, foretold by every sage and philosopher since the beginning of this Kali Yuga, but that now is being actualized. at a time when, ironically, everyone had lost the religious beliefs that had foretold and prophesied all of this, and lost the understanding or belief in goodness and purity and in the reality of God or the self. Now, at that very moment in which the darkness of the ego's cynicism and denial of love and of light and of the real, now at that moment we are faced with both the whirlwind of the karmic reaping of what has been sowed by the collective ego, and also at the same time the revelation and the rapture, the bliss of the return of God. Because that's what the ending of the world is. It's the return of the realization that there never was a world but only God, who appears as that singularity of light and power and potentiality that can once again redream the world in its most beautiful form, before it was degraded by the ego consciousness that brought the world into its current crisis. So this is what has been called Nivritti Marga. There are two margas or pathways in traditional yoga or even in Eastern philosophy in general, the Pravritti Marga and the Nivritti Marga. The Pravritti is the outgoing, when the world is new and young and beautiful and open, and there are always new horizons of possibility. Then one wants to build, one wants to explore the outer, one wants to express one's creativity in the constructions that are possible for the mind and for form itself. But as the world returns, as the circle ends up returning to its omega and alpha point, there is a need to withdraw from the outer, to return to the source from which we have come, and to refresh, to renew, to recharge the batteries that have become exhausted over lifetime after lifetime of proceeding in an externalized manner. But now the world is exhausted. The natural resources are exhausted, the political and social resources, and the world is literally shutting down. And the external possibilities and its horizons that could offer hope and progress and all the dreams that people used to take for granted that they could have fulfilled in life have now become an impossibility. It's very difficult for people who were indoctrinated to think that the world was their oyster and they could make all kinds of money and have everything that they desired if only they played the game properly, etc., and to find out that no, that's no longer the case. The rules have changed. Even in the media, you're now reading always about the new Great Reset, which means the end of the world as we knew it, the end of the conditions in which freedom was taken for granted, or even sanity for that matter, and reliability, consistency of the law and of the way that people would behave toward one another. And we are now seeing a collective madness ensue, a psychosis that has become collectivized and generalized, and aggressivity and paranoia rising, mounting to their maximum. And so in a time of this kind of very high tension and of terror, of conflict of every kind, and of the incomprehensibility of the ways in which those current authorities are managing this supposed crisis and are turning it into a way of bringing about a totalitarian loss of freedom for everyone. This short circuit of everything we thought was reality and was expected by the human species to be honored brings us back to the core of what we are, when we can no longer depend on the external world for the support that it used to give, when it's now a place of danger, of sickness, and of mob violence, of death. How does one retain one's spirit, one's life, one's light, one's empowerment, one's creative imagination, one's ability to love with an open heart, with innocence, with purity, with goodness? How does one retain one's soul and one's connection to the purity of spirit in a time of such darkness? This is the challenge that yogis face, but at the same time, it is what is motivating people as never before to go inward, because when you're in lockdown, there isn't much else you can do. And so as the external possibilities are minimized, the potentiality for the internalization of consciousness, for the rediscovery of those resources that are supernatural, that are connected to God consciousness and derive their being from our own immortal self, our eternal light, that is now available as never before. And the time to concentrate and to be present to the innermost being is now reaching its maximal. So if we take advantage of what this time is giving us, rather than resisting it and regretting it and feeling the remorse of what is lost, of feeling the potential of what can be gained now, by going within, by letting go of all of those desires of the ego and of all of its fear, because it can reach that state of fearless presence when it knows that it is not the body, not the mind, not anything with form that could decompose or be harmed. When you know what you are, then you gain a freedom that cannot be taken away. And you regain a power that is our true inheritance and birthright as manifestations of the one Supreme Self. So in Nivritti Marga, meditation is not an activity that one engages in. It is one's beingness. It's not something you do, it's the realization of what you are that never comes to an end. And it's this kind of meditation that is required now, a meditation that isn't interrupted by a return to the ego mind and its fears and confusions and lostness and its embeddedness in duality. We want to reach that place of the self that does not change, cannot be lost, and that is not dependent on any conditions.
That's the way out. The way in is the way out. Yes, there is an alien race, and it's extraterrestrial. They're the good guys. There's an alien, that which is foreign to this divine land, Earth, section of the galaxy, that was created with an intent. There are beings here, disguised in human meat suits. You can bet them. Some are just simply influenced by the puppet master. But in this place, in this race, if you will, there's lots of nonsense. So when I started this presentation a little earlier, all the way through to this present vantage point, it seems like I painted the picture that we are being attacked or invaded by an alien race. I did that on purpose, and yes, that still is applicable. But it's not an invasion that is happening right now. It's an invasion that happened back when, which is now revealing itself for completion right now so that we can all see it. It's the same experience of the fallen Nephilim. The same analogy applies. We all jumped out of an airplane. Some of us enjoyed the free fall all the way to the ground. Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, your great-grandmother, you, and whoever. And some of us freaked out once we left the plane. The plane? The spiritual plane. And in such a way, an unconscious consciousness inserted itself of division, fear, greed, and control. And this is the same consciousness that back when is now here yet again to remind us. It's truly that. It's, in other words, we're actually still all in free fall. This is not, it sounds metaphorical, but it's not. We're in free fall. And that very consciousness is wedging itself between the earth and what we all deserve. It is an alien race. That's why the knuckleheads on this earth can't get out. They can't get out. And it's changing. The earth's vibration is getting ever higher. Look at the Schumann resonance. Right? I'm going to close off this presentation shortly. Thank you for joining me for tonight's presentation, Center of Light Justice. We're going to get justice. And it's just us. Prison planet. You're not a victim. But this planet has the thumb of a warden. Don't kid yourself. He has a huge gun and a big stick on his belt. And he will knock you over the head. Don't delude yourself. Doesn't mean you need to buy into the fear. But don't delude yourself that there is a level of power that will club you. When push comes to shove you, make sure you step in the right direction. Because everything is being revealed. And so the question and the answer is, yes, you can have exactly what you want. Closing off tonight. What you just heard from Shunya Murdy, and what I think is the conclusion of this presentation, is our get out of jail free card, including myself. But also know that being of service, simply to help, whether you like it or not, as far as when someone is asking you for help, will help you to see the new world that Shunya Murdy and I often talk about. The new world is not about seeing, it's about being. And as we all free fell, some of us got lost in the spell, and some of us are now living to tell a new story, which is the glory. We are regaining our conscious step, our conscious balance, to go back to the garden, which is simply being an innocent divine child of purity. Anything else will not survive. And in such a way, the meek is not weak. It's the strong. Let me go inside. Dear ones who are listening to these words pouring from the heart of yourself, don't kid yourself. This is where it actually comes from. Love is already won. You may say, yay! Don't yay too quickly now. For it is your level of yay contribution to what has been offered through this presentation that will pull you into cheerleadership, where you tumble about joyful and shake your spiritual pom-poms that you have finally made it. Because you see, the story is already over. You're just living it. But it requires you giving it your all. From the small to the big, do your cheerleader jig. And you will escape the invasion of non-consciousness. You will move through the filter, and you will find yourself pleasantly yet again at home. You see, at home is not then, it's now. It may take a while to get there, but ultimately we're going to come back here. Do you understand? It's about the play of consciousness, and consciousnesses. You think about water. You pour water into a sink and you take some dirty water and pour it into the same sink. Well, the water gets kind of muddled and messed up. Same idea. So we have all these consciousnesses turning within themselves. So it's a matter of simply asking yourself, what influence do you want to take you down whatever river you choose to go? Do you want to go upstream to be eaten by a bear like salmon? Or do you want to merrily, life is but a dream, put down your oars and your paddles, and the current will turn you, and you don't have to do any of the work? I get it. You can bet. Possibly. The news, the mainstream, one day may say, we are being invaded. That is the truth, but that's not their intention of the truth. It's to make you afraid of the worthy ones, the ones that are truly here in support of the graduation of humanity. Why would they even be interested in that? Because the graduation of humanity helps to elevate their civilization as well. You see, it's called civilization, civilized. We're cosmically civilized, those who are not influenced by the fallen Nephilim, or the fallen idea, or the fallen consciousness of greed, fear, control, and the like. So in such a way, when they say we are being invaded, that may be the truth, but that's not what they're offering to you. They're just saying, run away, turn away from those who are truly here to help. How will you know the difference? Beautiful question we should all ask ourselves. A deserving, worthy question. And the answer should simply come and sound something like this. How can you not know if you are truly a passionate, sincere seeker? Wanting the divine milk from your divine mother's teat. You hear me? When you want that, there's no way you cannot know and be fulfilled and sustained as a child of the infinite cosmic womb. It looks like doom and gloom. I get it. But you got to get with it. We have to want to contribute to the whole to get out of the division of the consciousness that interjected itself, that seems like it's happening now, because there is an alien invasion. But back when, it was a Nephilimic invasion. And we're now just here to see it again. Back then we saw it because we saw our brethren holding on for dear life and freaking out, or maybe you were one that was holding on, maybe I, holding on and freaking out, and it created this unconscious wedge between the consciousness that graced the earth with the embodiment of itself, heaven, God, divinity, on earth, rock, spinning planet, dirt, breathe life into man, from Adam and the dust it comes. It's not hard. It's never been hard. It's never been hard. Follow the Lord of your heart. Well, Keith, it sounds like we have different lords by name, but we don't. Our aim is the same, which is we do bind ourselves in unity, love, consciousness, peace, that which is compassion, empathy for everyone, For whatever reason, we don't have to have an explanation. You don't owe me an explanation for you to be a peaceful, sexy, human, divine being on this earth. I don't care what you like. I don't care what you don't dislike. We have, quote, boundaries. We know how we are to each other because we're conscious. We made a contract. We know who we are to each other. Bro, sis, go do your thing. And I want more of what makes you joyful and gleeful. My blessings, my infinite blessings to you about that. And that's that. There is nothing else. If you are not with this program or this script, the script you are taking is poison. God bless you.